Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Colleen Suchecki, and I help spiritual women business owners get over fear, doubt, paralyzing fear in action, and I help them to confidently and boldly go after their dreams and take the action towards their dreams. And I just felt inspired today to have this real conversation about groups of women. And it's been something that has been very triggering for me personally. So I just felt like coming on here and having some real talk because, it's all great to like have this whole idea of, we're all sisters and we build each other up and all this stuff. But the truth is that a lot of people that I know, including used to be me, I would get really, really triggered when I was in a group of women. So if you're coming on now, please say hello. So if this is something that triggers you, you can, hi Donna, you can kind of like shy away from groups of women. You could have maybe more male friends. Or maybe maybe you just do it alone. You go it alone. You're like the lone wolf where you're doing a lot of things on your own. You're just trucking on through life. But I really wanted to have this conversation with you and share a personal experience because maybe it will help you. And I love groups of women. They are my tribe. Awesome. Donna, I'm sure that there are a lot of women that do feel that way. And I also know a lot of women don't feel that way, that there's been a lot of backstabbing, a lot of just like exclusion, especially from childhood. So, yeah, hey, Sarah. So I'm speaking to, so if you are like good to go with groups of women, this live is not for you, okay? So you can use your time. Your time can be better spent doing something else. But if this is ringing true for you, if there is something in you that is being stirred, that you feel, you know what? There really is something about a group of women that kind of like intimidates me, that scares me. Now, this can show up, in your business. If you are a business owner, maybe you avoid some networking events. Maybe you avoid women's networking events or women's groups because it's this sense of, am I going to be included? Am I going to be warmly welcomed? Or am I going to be kind of sitting in the corner by myself feeling really ridiculous? And I have had experiences like that. I have had so many experiences like that. And also let me just go back to and take responsibility is that it comes from my own opportunity for healing from my experience with friends and friendships growing up and having and feeling like rejected and feeling like I don't belong and feeling excluded and being made fun of and backstabbed. And if I'm totally honest, I've also done backstabbing. So it's not like I'm trying to pretend like I'm this little angel here. I think there have been so many experiences in my life, and it kind of culminated in last June, so almost a year ago, when I had an opportunity to join a women's only mastermind. And I had this sense of like, you know what? I feel there's a lot of healing and opportunity for healing for me with a group of women, because historically I know that I will either put on a mask or I'll make myself invisible, but I won't show up as my true self to protect myself. So I intentionally sought out an experience that I knew would trigger me. So if you've been feeling that way, if you've been feeling triggered by groups of women and you've avoided networking events, or you've avoided even just socially being a part of groups of women, then the antidote to that is to, which may seem counterintuitive, is to actually seek out opportunities that trigger you. So let me just share, because I always love to share from my own personal experiences. So I joined a mastermind last April, a year ago, that was a group of women. And I knew, again, I did this, part of the reason I joined this mastermind is because I knew this was going to trigger me. And I knew that it was a scenario where I had a lot of coping mechanisms and I had a lot of strategies where I wouldn't be myself. I wouldn't speak my truth. And so I would hide. And so I joined the mastermind, and a couple months into the mastermind was this women's, it was a retreat weekend. And so I'm going into the retreat weekend, and there's some women from the mastermind group, and there's also women that I really don't know from a previous mastermind group with the same coach. And so there's a bunch of us that are going to this house for the weekend in June. And going into the weekend, I knew that I was already triggered before I even got there. I had all these stories, all these old stories playing out in my head. I was feeling sick to my stomach. I'm like, oh my God. But again, the antidote to these things is to show up and to not run from them, not hide from them, but to actually face them head on. So I go into this retreat, and I immediately start feeling all this stuff come up. And I immediately start going into, hiding, putting a mask on. And again, if this is resonating with you, I'd love to hear your comments too, because it's always more fun for me when it's interactive, because I can't see you guys. So anyways, if you feel inspired to share anything or this triggers something in you, I would love to hear it. So I go into this mastermind, I go into this retreat weekend, and I get there, and I'm like, I want to leave. Like, I want to go. Like, there's a part of me that's like, just get back into the car and go home. I had always been someone who had a lot of male friends, and I really, that was something that was just always, because I had so many friendship things from my past that was still living in me. I just had like lots of male friends. And again, so I go into this retreat weekend, and I start to get a migraine. Now, I do not normally get migraines. Migraines are something that I rarely ever experience. And I've done enough personal development to know that if I get a migraine, it is a healing. Like, there is healing happening, and it is coming up. It's almost like my body has a physical manifestation of all the junk and all the stories and all the experiences as this symptom of a migraine. So we're going into, and so now I have this migraine, and I'm like, here's a perfect excuse to go up into my room and hide. Right? So I go up into my room, and I'm laying on the bed, and I have this migraine, and my head is literally pulsating. And there was just I think it was my higher self came in and said, you have a choice right now. You can either go down and face and have a massive breakthrough, or you can stay up here in your stories. And so even though I wanted to stay in the room, I didn't. I actually said, okay, this is it. I'm doing it. I don't care. So I start to leave my bedroom that I was staying in, and I'm walking down the stairs, and tears are pouring out of my eyes, uncontrollably. I can't even hold the tears back. And there's this whole table of women sitting there, and everyone's talking, and we're having all these conversations, and I don't even know what I'm going to do or what I'm going to say, but I just showed up. I said, I'm not going to run away from this. I'm going to face it head on. So I go down and I sit at the table next to this one woman, and she looks over at me, and she said, are you okay? And I just lost it. I was like, no, I'm not okay. And so I start sharing with her, and like literally sharing with everyone how triggering it is for me to be in a group of women and I have all these things from my past and that this is very vulnerable and I usually like to just hide and be invisible, but I'm not going to do that because I want to have a breakthrough here and I want to show up and I want to be myself, even if I look stupid, even if I look foolish, even if you're going to make fun of me or think less of me. I don't care. I'm doing this for me. So I show up and I say all of this to all these women, some of them that I've just literally met like the day before. And I'm pouring my heart out and I'm just crying and crying and crying. And the one woman, and they just all listened to me. And the one woman said, she was actually a healer. And she said, I want to come outside. I'm going to do some energy work on you. So we went outside and she did some energy work on me. And of course the migraine went away. It was like instantly, as I was down there and sharing and she started doing energy work on me, but the migraine went away instantly. And it was this huge positive heart-opening experience of I can show up and be myself. I can be messy, I can be vulnerable, and I can have people still welcome me with warm arms and open hearts. And that experience completely changed my relationship with groups of women. So I had that huge breakthrough where I just shared openly and vulnerably and basically did the thing that I was like most afraid to do, was to be, showed up, and I was afraid to be seen as stupid or, all these things. And I just threw the caution to the wind and I just showed up. And that's what it is. When you have these triggers, 90% of it is just showing up and staying in the room. It's when we hide, it's when we want to become invisible, it's when we run away that we leave these stories to continue to run in our system and give them power. So by me staying in the room, even though when I was walking down those stairs, I had no idea what I was going to say or do. Like there was no plan. I was just like showing up as myself. Here it is. I don't know what's going to happen. And again, in that moment, and that's the beauty of it, is that when we just show up for ourselves, it's like the opening for miracles. We have no idea what's going to happen. We have no idea how everything's going to work out. But when we hand it over, when we surrender, and when we trust, that is when the miracles come in. And so that was just it was a really life-changing experience for me. And it really helped me then to go through the mastermind. It was a year-long mastermind I was in. And it really helped me to change this whole story about that I cannot be myself in a group of women, that I don't matter, that I'm invisible, that I've got to hide, I've got to people please, I got to tell people what they want to hear. And I had several experiences throughout this past year where I showed up vulnerably, honestly. I spoke my truth, even when it was inconvenient, even when it was uncomfortable, and even when it was times where I knew the other person may really not want to hear what I have to say. And time again, it really changed my whole story about being in groups of women. And it changed neurologically and physiologically in my body the connections that I have about being in a group of women. And that it's like when I show up for myself and I'm authentic and I'm vulnerable and I speak my truth, I then give other people, it's like putting out this energy. I value myself, so I'm going to attract the people that value me. No matter what I say, no matter if it's something that's uncomfortable or disappointing or not what they want to hear, I had the experience of people not loving me despite of all those things, but because of them. We wrapped up the mastermind and we all took turns going around and sharing, things about each other and kind of giving each other feedback. And what I was hearing was how impactful it was for the other women to see me really speak my truth and show up vulnerably and say the hard things and say what needed to be said. And that was actually a quality that was endeared them more towards me. So I'm just kind of going on and on here, but the reason I'm sharing this as well is because I am hosting a women's retreat coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend, May 3rd through 5th. And I was wondering, I was like, I wonder if there are people that are out there that are interested in this retreat that are triggered about being in a group of women. Because again, I knew that I was there. So I know I'm not the only one in the world that could have this. So that is also part of the beauty and the power of, again, knowing the things that trigger you and deciding to face them head on, deciding to look them straight in the eye instead of run and hide from them. And it's when you do those things and when you show up and when you stay in the room, miracle after miracle after miracle, and life changing. Your life just totally changes. So I wanted to get that message out of me, and hopefully it served you. If there's anything that I've shared that has really sparked an aha or really resonated with you, I would love to hear in your comments. And if you have been considering the retreat, but this has been maybe something that has, being in the group of women has been something that maybe has deterred you from going deeper and exploring it, then I want to really invite you to go deep within yourself and ask, is this the breakthrough that you need right now? Okay. What if you could change the story around groups of women? What if instead of them being backstabbing and, like cutting and detrimental or whatever the stories are from your past, what if they were supportive and encouraging and lifting you up? And, hey, Felicia. So if you've been contemplating the retreat, and this is something that has stopped you from going deeper or finding out more information about it, then I just really want to invite you to be honest with yourself and to ask, is this the time for you? Is this the time for you to really have a breakthrough in this area? And not only in your relationship with a group of women, but your relationship with yourself, how you show up for yourself, and to make some big transformational changes in your life. So if this is sounding intriguing to you, it is next weekend, May 3rd through 5th, Salisbury, Massachusetts. It's this gorgeous, gorgeous house. It's going to be a very intimate group of women, and there's going to be some very life-changing, powerful work that happens there. So I hope this message helped you in some way. I'd love to hear how it resonated. And if you would like to have a conversation about the retreat to see if it's a good fit for you, then I will put the link in here afterwards, and I look forward to speaking to you. All right. I hope you have a beautiful day, and thanks for listening.